One thing I tell families is consider yourself not just as an American once you bring in your Ethiopian child. Call yourself an Ethiopian American child. Don't just teach the child about Ethiopian culture, but learn it yourself so that the entire family is involved in it, so that your child doesn't feel like a freak. He's not the only one knowing about Ethiopia or culture. And so if you immerse your child in an Ethiopian culture, immerse his sister that's, an American, a Caucasian, or his Chinese child, and vice versa. Make sure that the entire family is involved in learning about the culture. Different ways you can do that is, for instance, Ethiopian Christmas is on January 7th, like the Orthodox Christmas. And, if you're going to celebrate December 25th, the usual Western Christmas, and then on the 7th, maybe exchange gifts, learn an Ethiopian, traditional recipe and make that on that day. There are different ways you can actually incorporate the culture without necessarily really just forcing it down. In the end, a child really does not want to stick out as a sore thumb. They really want to be like their parents. And so the more you're involved in that culture, the easily he's willing to just accept it as just part of what the entire family does. Teenagers are sometimes, just a different species. They're not interested in many things that their parents are interested in, whether it's an adopted child or not. A child might not like showing affection. They don't really like it when their parents kiss them or tell them they love them, as a 16-year-old. But you wouldn't tell a family to cease telling that child they love them, or, that they're doing great or anything like that, even though they're kind of just grunting and be like, Mom. And so I think the same thing goes for an adopted child. Even though they're not really interested in their culture, I think families should, be persistent, not necessarily force the child, but really encourage the child to learn about their culture or still involve them in something, Ethiopian, because even though they're not interested in their teens, they're going to wake up in their 20s and wish that their parents did encourage them to learn about these things, just like they would wake up in their 20s and appreciate that their families, still told them they loved them. Most families should really take advantage of their time in Ethiopia and try to collect as many things as possible that the child can look back and actually find some, a lead to, if that child is interested in finding out about their birth parents or, their birth country or the location where they were found. Most agencies try to facilitate some sort of meeting with the family or with the police or with the orphanage director, so that the family can learn about the child and, how they ended up, being available for adoption. And so while they're there, some agencies might provide them with life books, or another agency might have, the blanket or the dress that the child came in wearing. And so I think a family should really take advantage of that and try to collect as many things as possible for that child if at some point he or she is interested.